what is a mistake? The first thing that comes to your mind is, what is a mistake? Please listen very well. A mistake occurs in the application of accounting principles that relates to measurement, recognition, classification, presentation, or disclosure in the financial statement, or disclosure in the financial statement. And some of you did mention that he fails to go through the audit procedures, he over-rely on third-party confirmation, the auditors rely on the information from the marketing department instead of the accounting department. Yes. And then the treatment too. Some of you mentioned proper plan. He didn't do proper plan. That will be the next thing. But what is a mistake? A mistake occurs in the application of accounting principles. The treatment relating to measurement, recognition, how was it taken, recognition, classification, and their presentation or disclosure in the financial statement. Because that is the issue. That is the issue. The recognition, the classification, and presentation. That was why they, first of all, withdrew their opinion on the 2 previous years and then suspend audit work. So, the question asks you to give 2, 3, or 4 type of mistakes. Number 1, the auditor fails to obtain reasonable assurance to address audit risk because he didn't get enough evidence. Appropriate, he didn't get appropriate and sufficient. You remember when I say, is the evidence reliable? Is it relevant? Yes, the evidence is reliable. But in terms of sufficiency, is the evidence received from the client, is it accurate? So, if the evidence is not reliable, and sufficient, okay, to address the audit risk. And the audit risk. Audit risk is a function of inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Yes or no? Zawane, yes or no?
Tekan tengah.
Zawana.
Tak, butir tengah dia, bawah tu.
Hello?
Bawah ya?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Tu
betul.
ada butir, 3
Yes,
butir.
okay. Yes.
Tengah.
So the first point there is the auditor fails to obtain reasonable assurance to address the audit risk. And what is the audit risk? You want to justify, because this is an exam you are writing, not in school, but at home. Audit risk is a function of inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. You remember. The second point there, which some of you mentioned, Shafiq Rahim mentioned the issue of professional skepticism. What it means is that the auditor fails to maintain the principle of ethical standard. He fails to maintain the principles of ethical standard. Especially on professional skepticism. And professional skepticism in fact or in mind, and skepticism in appearance. That's for you to add. You can see now, it's not a shy play. Assuming we are doing in school, yes, we are allowed to, but you have 2 weeks to write. So your point must be well defended. The points here must be well defended. It fails to adhere or to comply with ethical standards, with emphasis on professional skepticism. I am a layman. What is professional skepticism? You must explain to me. Professional skepticism is divided into 2. Skepticism in mind or appearance, or in mind or fact. Number 2, skepticism in appearance. And then you explain what skepticism in mind or fact means. Inquisitive mind, questioning mind. You should be able to do that. Does he do that? No. Was there any bias in the financial statement? That's number 2. Number 3. The auditor fails to evaluate management assumptions on the financial statements. The auditor fails to evaluate management assumptions on the financial statements. There are 3 management assumptions. There are 3 management assumptions. We must find them out. Okay? We must find them out. But in case you have assumptions of existence or occurrence, assumptions of completeness, rights and obligations, valuation, allocation, etc., etc. Okay? Number 4, is that the auditor fails to design third-party confirmation request and evaluate the results. When you send third-party confirmation, was there a design to look at what are you expecting from the third party? Is it only the figure or some information? We couldn't see where there was a design. Like you see now, for example, see your cover page of your question. With this paper, you have 7 questions, you have precision also to show end of the question. We can evaluate each of those clauses. Was there any design of what the auditor is expected from the organization? No. They just rely on information, submit document. But did they have any design? Or what are the basis to evaluate what they receive? They fail. to do that, to address management assertion, which is very close to receivables. It failed, especially receivables. Was there any design request to third party? Another point is which one of you mentioned is reliance on confirmation by vendor sales personnel. The auditor relies on confirmation by vendor sales personnel instead of the vendor's accounting department. That's a failure. That's a mistake. And I think CEO mentioned that. Yeah, is it CEO? I'm coming. Okay, it's sure. Sure mentioned that. He rely on confirmation by vendors sales personnel instead of vendors accounting department. That's good from Sure. Sure mentioned that. It does not do proper planning. Yes, that is really to maintain, to prepare a design on third-party confirmation. That is what is referred to as that. Who mentioned that? Rashid? No, Anissa mentioned that, but the answer is exactly what I've given you, which relates to what you are talking about. Yes, receivables, yes. Failure to design third-party request, yes. Follow on the receivables. Promotional allowance properly. Yes, because it did not design a plan, a request confirmation, and therefore there is no basis to evaluate the assertions with regard to receivables. Okay. That is that. You are supposed to pick 3 out of 5. I just gave you 5. You are supposed to master 3, and the areas that you need to improve upon in terms of management assertions, you must take the assertions. In terms of ethical standards, you must take the divine principles and emphasize on independence. Independence has to do with professional skepticism. Okay, you do that. That shows you understand what you are talking about. And then, which other areas I wanted to emphasize when you said yes? Professional skepticism, yes, falls under independence. Falls under independence. And then the B part. The B part. Is that clear? Hello? Shafika, I know